Hi, I'm Ildiko Spinfisher. I'm the founder of Life Retuning, a psychological, human energy-based modality which sidesteps the mind. I'm known as the Quantum Wizard. I work with heart-centered entrepreneurs globally to unlock their greatest potential and upgrade their success. I run workshops and courses teaching about energy wisdom. I feel blessed to have the opportunity to share with you on the Be Woke podcast show, and I want to thank you for being here with us today.
Hi everyone, my name is Julie Salant and I am an animal communicator and transformational intuitive coach. My gift is that I am able to see negative energies that are blocking you and remove them with light language and bring in positive energy to bring you back into alignment. I'm also an animal communicator, and I really love talking with Ildiko because she brings the science to what our discussions are, and I'm the intuitive part. Thank you for being here. We're looking forward to having you on all the podcasts. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Julie Salant and Ildiko Spinfisher from Be Woke. Thank you for being here. We are here with another episode, and this time we're doing 4 different episodes. This group is going to be on crystals, and we're going to talk about crystals in varying ways that you may not have heard of before, because crystals, which we'll talk about in this first episode, have been outselling diamonds, probably for the first time ever, I would think, right, Ildiko?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Delighted to be here with you again. Was just having a chat with Julie just before coming on to record this episode for you. And I've been doing some research over the last couple of weeks and noticing the trend in articles that, as Julie said, crystals are outselling diamonds for the first time. Companies like De Beers are actually in quite a lot of trouble because they have a stockpile of stuff, but nobody to polish the diamonds. And this has been going on for a little while, but it's got worse during the last few months, during lockdown. And some of our top celebrities are choosing crystals over diamonds. There are some crystal houses now that have opened, and they serve the great and the good, especially in Hollywood. So crystals have made it onto the main stage.
Yes. And I've been using crystals for a very long time. I've been a fan of jewelry and gemstones for a long time. I've made my own jewelry. So we have so much to talk about. But it's interesting because, you know, when you think about diamonds have been around for so many years. They're the stone that everyone uses as an engagement ring, no matter what color it is. They are revered. They are expensive. They have a history. They have both great history and also some dark parts, but that's okay. But diamonds have really kind of been the pinnacle, I feel, you know, when you want to get married, when you want to give someone a gift that really is like over the top, amazing, lasts forever, we think diamonds. Yeah. So how do you think, and why do you think there's been a shift towards crystals, Ildiko?
Well, I think partly it's because of the long history that crystals in general have of their healing properties, going way back to ancient Egypt. The Egyptians used even powdered up crystal like lapis and malachite for makeup. So women would actually paint these tiny powdered gemstones onto their eyelids, and they were very aware of the healing properties of all of these gemstones that they were using. So I think that this seems to be coming through to the surface, maybe in an unconscious way, but nevertheless, there is a more complexity than just your average diamond. And yes, it's beautiful, but ultimately it's that variety, I think, that people are starting to discover is actually the important part. And maybe that also is what's happening in society in general, because there's been a big shift from our superheroes, you know, like the Avengers and those sort of cartoon superheroes, to real live heroes, those medical staff who have been on the front line battling and putting their lives on the line for all of us. So maybe what it's indicating for me, certainly, is a complete shift in consciousness towards variety, reality, and away from falseness. And I think the story that comes with diamonds can often be quite false. So perhaps that's one of the reasons why, Julia.
I agree with you. And I think I remember, I want to say Cleopatra, but she had put on some lapis lazuli, which is the dark blue, crushed up on her eyes. And I also remember that they had used gemstones on ships to guide the way. They would hold it up and then the light would come through. Yes.
Yeah. And also the lodestone. The lodestone is magnetic, and they would use those on ships. So that was a very, very important part of the paraphernalia that they would have on ships. And interestingly enough, you talk about lapis, and one of my special stones is a lapis, which has actually got the little gold bit in the tip, if you can see. So I keep this with me, and it's a very special stone. And of course, yes, the Egyptians absolutely adored lapis, and you know, it has special properties. So yes, it's very ancient knowledge.
Yes, and crystals have been around a lot longer than the fine cut gemstones that you're thinking of when you think Tiffany or De Beers. Because remember, back then, even if they had diamonds, they probably wouldn't have been able to afford them. You'd have to be very, very wealthy, of a royal family. The average person would be able to have access to a crystal that they could find, dig up, or get from a friend, versus at the diamond like we're thinking today.
Yeah, it would be interesting to find out when diamonds really stood to the fore as the #1 gem, because actually thinking back in time to medieval times, for instance, you didn't really find diamonds on the crowns of the kings or queens. It would be more like beryl or sapphire, or ruby. So
yes.
It would be interesting to find out why and when did diamond actually become the main trend. I mean, it's a colorless gem, so it's interesting what it says about the psyche of people up until this point in time, that they would go for the colorless. Perhaps they were thinking that it was flawless, and you know, the more pure, the whiter the light, perhaps that's what they're drawn to. And after all, white light contains all colors. So in a way, with a diamond, you have the best of all worlds, although you can't see those colors, of course, unless you look at the twinkling in the diamond. But I think obviously the different way that diamond stones are cut as well shows them in another aspect. They have the different facets, don't they? So, I mean, diamonds are fascinating. Of course, diamonds are not just pure white either, because you can get different colors, like the pink diamonds and the blue diamonds.
Yellow, yes, red.
They're a type of stone. But you know what fascinates me the most? The fact that diamonds are only created under extreme pressure in the earth. And I think that's probably what makes me respect diamonds the most of all.
I think also when you think about that, when I think about marriage or being with someone for the long term, I always have thought diamonds, we all learn and have our gifts really mature under pressure. Yeah. At least if your spiritual gifts we're talking about, it's not something you can write about it, you can think about it, you can talk about it, but when you actually access it and use it, and that's under pressure where you may feel like I've never done this before, that's when everything seems to be honed and your craft will get stronger. That's been my experience. Has that been your experience as well, Ildiko?
Absolutely. And I think another property of diamond is that it is so hard because it has been created under incredible pressure that you have diamond cutters. So diamond actually cuts glass and it cuts through a lot of other things without breaking, without shattering. So I think the more you're honed, the more pressure you're under, the less you'll shatter. So yes. That's a really nice analogy.
Yes, yes. And I was just thinking, so I love opals. They're my birthstone. But opals are soft. So think about if you're wearing something every single day, and as Ildiko was saying, if you hit your hand or you spill something and you hit your hand and then your diamond, it won't hurt the diamond. But if you had a softer stone, because stones range from very soft to diamond very hard, so there's a very wide spectrum here. But I'm I'm so interested to know, because of what's happening in the world, your thoughts on why people have actually shifted from the diamonds to the crystals. What do you think has shifted in their minds as a culture, as an awakening?
So suddenly, a lot of people are opening up to earth energies because with this lockdown, we were forced to stop and to reassess things. And because of being in lockdown, not being able to go and rush around and do the usual things that everybody was doing, we had to slow down, we had to stop, and we had to start looking in a different way. And what we saw was nature.
Yes.
And of course, crystals are all about nature. They are the gifts of the earth, the bones of the earth, and they do just hold this incredible magic to them. When you look at a crystal, you can get lost in the beauty of it and the imperfection as well. I think with diamonds, there's a striving for perfection, but perhaps it's time to look for the beauty in imperfection, because who's perfect after all? There's no such thing as perfect. So maybe it's time to not look at perfection as the ultimate goal, but instead to look for wholeness, which is a very different way to look at things. So I think it's about our consciousness turning more towards nature and natural things.
And each of these stones has properties, vibrational properties, healing properties, which we'll go into later. But the important thing is exactly what Ildeco's saying, is that they all do something for humans. They've helped the earth. They help the humans on the earth. They have a vibration and a frequency. And I agree with you. A lot of times, sometimes, the striations that you'll see in them, or the way that the crystals are, if they're in a group together. I have so many I can show, but that's what to me makes it beautiful. They're not perfect. Humans aren't perfect. Our life isn't perfect. Nothing's perfect, but that's the part that really will speak to somebody and say, oh my gosh, I love that. I kind of feel that. That's my vibe.
Yeah, in a way, it's countering the falseness, for instance, that has been prevalent on Instagram. The Insta photo, the one that's been touched up and slimmed down and all of that. And I think it's time, because so much talking about pressure, like diamonds having been under pressure to be created. There's been a lot of pressure to become perfect, to become everything that Instagram influencer could possibly be, and now more and more people are realizing that is just fairy tales. It's not real, it's not attainable, it's not fair either, because when you use falseness to create something that you're showing as being reality, eventually it has to break down because there's no foundation to it.
Yes, eventually, if you use filters on all your pictures, eventually you're going to post one, somebody's going to see it. So I agree with you. I think being authentic and real is what people are starting to shift towards, move towards, thank goodness, after all these years of perfect pictures and perfect videos. But I do feel that there's a real need for alternative medicine. I do feel that people are turning from, we know what the doctors can do and we salute them and love them. But there are instances where we want to go on our spiritual awakening. A lot of the consciousness has now been spiritually awakened for perhaps the first time. And they're looking at life in a different way through their heart chakra instead of their mind. And they're thinking, what do I really want here? And I'm open to more things and tools that can help me.
Yes. I think that what we need to be aware of is that this knowledge is centuries old. Now, if it didn't work, people would have stopped doing it, quite simply. So there's this reconnection back to simpler times as well that seems to be happening, which is fantastic, because a lot of our answers come from simplifying down our lives. And crystals play an integral part with regards to that. So what I wanted to do was just share a few examples of some of the crystals that we can use in our lives in a positive way, a practical way.
Yes, please. Yes.
So I've got 6 crystals that I want to share about today. And the first one is called Charoite. So Charoite is a beautiful, I don't have one here, but it's a beautiful purpley white, cloudy type of crystal. It's beautiful. It's opaque, so it's not your see-through crystal. But Charoite has some very powerful properties. It's what I would call a karmic stone. And the reason it's a karmic stone is because it can help you follow your soul path. So it can give a clarity as to what your soul path is. And if you meditate with Charoite, it can help you to connect in with your soul and get some answers for yourself as to, well, what next? What am I supposed to do? And what am I here for? So it's really a very beautiful energy, a high energy. So the second stone I want to share about is Kyanite. Now, Kyanite is actually a shimmery blue crystal, and it's formed in sheets. It's very, very thin sheets, so it has this sort of beautiful, subtle, shimmery quality to it. And if you use Kyanite, you can quieten your mind with it. It will just bring down the noise levels in your mind. So you could, for instance, I mean, I've got one of these little pouches that I'll hang around my neck, and you know, goes down around my sort of higher stomach area, and I carry some crystals in that, and Kyanite would be one of those that I just allow to interact with my own energy field in just a very beautiful way. So that's another one you can get. All these crystals are totally available. There are crystals that are very expensive, and they are expensive because they are rare. So, you know, they might come from one particular place in the world, and sometimes they do a very similar job to a crystal that is more available. And I would say, you know, maybe just be mindful of Mother Earth and her gems, because we don't want to overmine and overuse these beautiful crystals that come from the earth. We do that a lot, unfortunately, as humans. And I think, you know, this crystal focus needs to be done in the right way. So these crystals I'm talking about are available. You can just buy them online, for instance. I mean, I've got a lot of my crystals off Amazon, unless I've gone to fairs, you know, like healing fairs, and just gone along and picked up whichever crystal is, you know, speaking to me at the time. And the thing is, crystals can help you at certain times of your life, and then they kind of fade out because they've done their job. So it might be that another crystal comes into your life instead. So the third crystal I want to talk about is quartz. And in the next episode, I'm going to go deeply into how incredible quartz crystals are. But what I want to touch on is, if you have other crystals, quartz is an amplifier. So if you are meditating with your chosen crystals, if you have a quartz crystal with it and your intention is focused to those crystals, the quartz crystal will amplify the properties of the other crystals. So it's a wonderful stone to have around any of your other crystals. And then one which it's an interesting name. It's called apophyllite. Apophyllite.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that's a very complicated name, and I keep getting it wrong, but never mind. I'll get there one day. And apophyllite is actually a great one to help you ground. And at the moment, it's so important for us to ground ourselves. Because of all the news and the other things that you can get really hooked into, and then it drags and drops your energy down. So grounding into your life, grounding into what's important to you, keeping your feet on the ground. Apophyllite is very good for that. And it also helps to, if you're working on releasing emotions, emotional baggage that you're trying to get rid of, let go of, because it no longer serves you. Apophyllite is really good for that as well. So it's a beautiful stone as well.
So that's perfect if you just have woken up, or even if you've been on your spiritual path for a while. That's perfect, Ildiko, because what happens is you're awake, as we say, be woke, right? You're awake now, and then all of these emotions or traumas or thoughts, whatever they may be, come up to be released. So that would be a perfect stone to use as you're going through and thinking, oh my goodness, I can't handle this. This would help you maybe release some of that negative junk, right?
Absolutely. And it's a beautiful stone. It's like a pale sort of pink or green. It comes in 2 different colors. It's gorgeous to look at as well and have around. So, it's kind of working on that level as well. So the next one is beryl. And beryl has been used for a long time. There are a lot of different types of beryl stone. But the one that is probably most known is a deep red color.
That's my favorite.
Right. Isn't it gorgeous?
Oh, that's my favorite.
It's got that fire in it, hasn't it? That red fire. And beryl is great for clarifying your path and releasing. Again, it's another great stone for that. So if you put your apophyllite stone, your beryl stone together, you get your quartz crystal, boom, you've got this great, wonderful energy that they create to help you really clear out whatever is holding you back, or that you're stuck in and you need to release. So it's a great one. And the final one I want to talk about is, it's not a very well-known stone. Again, it's called Variscite. And Variscite is a gorgeous turquoisey green color. I love it. I don't actually have a piece, but I'm going to treat myself, I think, for my next birthday, to Variscite stone, because it's just gorgeous. And Variscite helps you to see the next step in your life. So it's a great one. If you are not sure what you want to do next, maybe with your career or a relationship, or just, your life in general, this is a great one to sit with. It's also connected into your truth. So it reveals the truth. It can be very powerful, actually, for those people in your life who are not telling the truth and are in denial. Whoa. That can create some real changes, stuff coming up to the top. So some of these crystals create massive shifts, and even though they look like they're doing nothing, they're actually creating a lot of change. And some of them you have to be a little bit careful with, because for instance, there's a crystal called moldavite, and that one creates big changes. And so you just have to be, mindful sometimes of aligning the crystal that you're using with what you want it to help you with, and see crystals as friends.
Yes.
That's how I see them. They're friends, and they're helpmates, they're help gems, if you like. Yes. So these are the 6 I wanted to share with you today. And what we'll do is we'll put up a page where you can go and just connect and have you can see these crystals, have a look at what they look like, and we'll put the information that I've shared with you today up there so that you can just connect back in.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you, Ildiko. And there are so many crystals. There's hundreds and hundreds. I used to make my own jewelry. I've gone into crystal stores, and what I like to do intuitively is actually close my eyes and set an intention, and I literally can roll my hands over some and just pick one. It's not about what it looks like, it's about what's actually speaking to you. But there are so many types of crystals. I mean, I have them everywhere. I'll show you, I don't know if you can see this, but this is fluorite. Fluorite comes in
Beautiful.
pink and clear, and
yeah.
And then I've got so many. I mean, I could show you guys forever, but this is like an opal, but they're pink quartz, but there's so many different types. But I like to think of it as have a bouquet around. You don't need, you can just have one, but I like to have a few, and whatever boosts me up, or whatever, as Ildiko was saying, whatever I need. If I need to release something, if I need to see the next stage, I do a lot of meditating and channeling, and selenite, which I'll show as well, is amazing. And I also have things like Himalayan quartz, which you can put a light underneath, and they're very calming and healing if you need to kind of bring your energy relaxed and want to expand. So we can put up links. There's lots of information out there. So we don't have to dig deep for this. We will put up the names and pictures of what Ildiko had just described. And we will also put a link up to maybe one or two, because there are websites that have every single one listed with the properties of the stone and the healing properties and attributes that they help humans with. But we would encourage you to go out and to start working with them, because they're amazing. They help me feel grounded. They do their job. And it's funny that you mentioned that, Ildiko, because a lot of times I have all these right here and I don't even think about them. But then sometimes I'm like, well, things are changing, so I know they're doing their job.
Yes, definitely. They're just great to work with. Whatever else you're doing, if you're meditating or if you're doing channeling or anything else, they just help alongside. So they're just wonderful. I love them. Yeah, I've got some crystals as well, but I will talk about those in one of the other episodes that we're recording today. So
yes. Well, thank you for being with us. So this was just a very short introduction to crystals, how they're outselling diamonds, and then Ildiko had given you 6 different types of crystals. We're going to go much, much deeper in future episodes. So stay tuned, and thanks for being here. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. We would like to take your hand and step into this year in a different, empowered way that no one is discussing. We invite you to come with us on this journey to show you a different way of being, to get to the deep truth of things, instead of having another year of ups and downs with the same patterns. In essence, we are going to help set you up for success.
We have a SMART 2-part experience just for the listeners. And the SMART experience is an acronym for: the S is for simplicity, the M is for motivation, the A is for action, the R is for reconnection, and the T is for transformation. And we are offering an expansive experience, first with Ildiko, who will remove blockages with energy, and then Julie, who will introduce the light language to infuse you with light, clarity, and positive purpose. So this is a large transformation in not only how you'll feel energetically, but also how you will experience and view the world and opportunities that are open to you. And this will be a session with each of us individually. If you'd like more information, please click the link, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast.